Good afternoon and welcome to Leighton Park in our IB webinar. We're really pleased to have you here with us today. My name is John Burnett and I am Director of Admissions here at Leighton Park, and I wanted to give you a really quick overview of the school before we get started and for you to meet Kees and our panel of IB students today. So Leighton Park is located in Reading. We're halfway between London and Oxford. London's 25 minutes away on the train and Oxford's 20 minutes the other way. This year we're really pleased to have won Senior School of the Year in the Independent Schools Association Awards. That's a national award. We're a school of 570 students here, and the school is located on beautiful parkland, really lovely environment to live, learn and to grow. So the IB program we have run for 17 years now, so we have a really long experience with the program, and we're really proud to offer it here. And we are further investing in the program because we believe it's such a fantastic program for students, both in terms of their outcomes, being able to go on to some of the top universities in the world, but also in terms of their personal development and their full range of skills that we develop on the program. So without any further introduction, I'm going to pass on to Kees, who is our Director of IB. Kees.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this webinar this afternoon. So as John said, my name is Kees Luteijn. I'm Assistant Head and Director of the IB Diploma Programme here at Leighton Park. My role essentially is about ensuring that all of our students on the programme thrive, that they feel their potential, and they're fully supported to do their absolute best. As an IB World School, we're the only school in Reading that's privileged to offer the IB. And as John mentioned, we've got a proven track record of over 17 years of running the programme. And it's a really exciting time for us on the IB. We're investing in it, we've got the ability to take on more students, and we've got an amazing new sixth form study centre in Grove with inspiring spaces for study as well as new classrooms. We have two programmes, both A-level and the IB. And for me, the main difference is with the IB, it's a holistic programme. Everything you do counts towards the IB. You're not just signing up for 3 or 4 distinctive subjects. You'll study 6 subjects as part of the IB. All of those 6 subjects are interlinked, and so you gain a lot of interdisciplinary skills. You're very open-minded, and students are very much ready for university or the world of work after that. Now, those 6 subjects, that isn't anything to be worried about. Instead, it's actually really exciting. Studying 6 subjects keeps open so many different doors and makes you really stand out when applying for university places. Of those 6 subjects, you'll study 3 at a higher level. And with those higher level courses, that really enables you to develop that depth of understanding, have that academic rigour. But also, if you want to specialise, say you want to go and do medicine, the IB can still work really, really well for you. So you can take chemistry and biology at a higher level, potentially maths as well, to gain that in-depth understanding. But then you also have 3 standard level subjects that add so much value to your application, gives you that breadth of understanding. It also enables you to explore other subjects that you might be interested in as well. Of those 6 subjects, they each come from a distinctive block. So in block 1, that studies in literature and language. So for a chunk of our students, they'll do English in block 1, but also we offer sort of German for German first language speakers, but also we offer the school-supported self-taught route. So that means that we offer up to 55 different courses that students can do in their first language. And they have really lively lessons in those lessons. So you'll be reading similar books but in different languages, and so you have real worldly discussions. That's a really exciting option for our students. In block B, block 2, you'll study what's known as language B. So this is all about language acquisition. So you might study a modern foreign language, but even if you haven't studied a language before, you have the option to study Spanish ab initio. That means from the beginning, essentially. But equally, if English isn't your first language, you have the option to study English B as well, so focus more on language acquisition. Block 3 is what's called individuals and societies, and it includes subjects such as psychology and history. Block 4 is the sciences, block 5 maths, and in block 6 you have a choice. So you can either study a second science, so as medics, for example, you will study 2 sciences, or you can do an arts-based subject. And excitingly this year, we're adding music as well. So we have the option to do visual arts or music in there. In addition to those 6 subjects, IB students can study the core. And this has 3 elements to it. So the first one is CAS, so creativity, activity, and service. And so you get credit for all the co-curricular activities that you do as a student at Leighton Park, but that counts towards your diploma. You'll also study the theory of knowledge, answering questions such as, how do we know what we know? And that's exactly the sort of thinking that university admissions tutors are really interested in. And lastly, you'll write an extended essay. This extended essay can be on anything related to your subjects that you're really passionate about. Again, it helps you stand out when you apply to universities. It means you don't need to do a standalone qualification such as an EPQ, an extended project qualification, in addition to doing your IB. And it's this kind of holistic, whole program approach that really does make the IB stand out, and IB students stand out at universities. So in the UK, IB students are about 3 times more likely to enrol at a top 20 university. In the US, students that have studied the IB are about 3 times as likely to get an offer for an Ivy League university. And then once they get to university, students tend to have a higher chance of getting a 2-1 or first class degree in the UK. And kind of given that, it's no surprise that 97% of admissions tutors rate the IB as the best preparation for university in the UK. The other real part of the IB, aside from the academic, is about its learner profile. And this is the bit that, for me, makes the IB the perfect choice at Leighton Park. So the IB is about developing students that embody 10 characteristics, things such as being caring, being inquisitive, being open-minded. And that aligns perfectly with our values at Leighton Park, where, yes, we're about academic achievement, but it's that achievement with the values, character, and community. But as well as being an IB student at Leighton Park, you'll be part of the full community here. And so you will be able to get involved with boarding. If you're a boarder, you'll get involved in a tutor group with A-level students, all the co-curricular stuff you'll do with the entire sixth form. And so all of the amazing opportunities we offer also apply to IB students. So you'll be part of 2 very different but dynamic communities, and so you'll be fully surrounded and fully supported here. And so I suppose the last thing really to kind of talk about is, well, who is IB suited for? And we've had a really diverse body of students that have done the IB and really thrived on it. And it's certainly not a course that's only reserved for the very brightest. Anyone that's hardworking, that's motivated, could do phenomenally well on the IB. But some sort of common characteristics are things such as students that are broad, have a broad skill set. They're good at a wide variety of subjects, and they really want to be recognised for that. Potentially as well, you're someone who wants to keep your options open. You're not quite sure yet what you want to do at university. If you value contact time with your teachers, as an IB student, you study those 6 subjects, you'll have more contact time with your teachers. So you'll have more individual support. We also have slightly smaller class sizes with the IB compared to A-levels. There's slightly more project-based learning as well. So there's more coursework and less of a focus solely on exams. So if you're someone that really relishes having those kind of smaller, more manageable milestones and check-ins throughout the course, then it might be right for you. And I suppose lastly, it's if you're considering studying abroad, whether that's in the US or in Europe or elsewhere, the IB really can help you with that and help you to stand out. The last thing that I think is really important to mention before handing over to one of our students is that I'm in the privileged position to be able to offer 5 scholarships, or up to 5 scholarships to a value of 30% of the fees, specifically for the IB. And so if you are considering the IB, I really would encourage you to apply for that scholarship. They are not purely academic. It's about trying to find students that are really going to flourish on the IB and do really well. So I hope that's given you a little bit of a kind of a flavour of the IB and an overview of actually how it all fits together. And please do kind of ask questions for us to answer shortly. But I'll now hand over to Saarvi. Saarvi is one of our upper 6th IB students, just to give you a little bit of an overview of her experience with us so far.
Hi, I'm Saarvi, and I particularly chose IB because I thought it was a little less restricted than the A-levels, because it went into every subject area, and it also allowed me to discover about the subjects that I wasn't really passionate about before, or I didn't know much about before. And the coursework in IB, like the IAs, which is the internal assessment, and the extended essay really helped me to explore the depths of the subject, because that helped me to figure out what my true passion is. Especially the extended essay, as it is a university level work, it really helped me to figure out what I wanted to do at university and what my passion really was. Apart from the classroom, there's also TOK and IB, which really extends your knowledge outside the classroom. It makes you think about the knowledge you gain, and that has personally been really helpful for me, because before this, I usually was quite biased towards information I used to get, and didn't really confirm the source of the information that I used to get. And apart from the academics, IB also helped me to grow as a person itself through CAST, because it taught me the importance of well-being, of creativity, and of standing up for people in the community and serving an active role. Leighton Park is a great way to do that, because it provided me with opportunities after school, and especially in the boarding house, since it's such an international community, I got to learn about different cultures, and I got to possess different roles in the society. And there are over 90 or 100 clubs after school at Leighton Park that you can pursue, which also align with the interest of IB. For me personally, I've gotten a lot more interested in the environmental aspect of the world and sustainability, which both IB and Leighton Park has really helped me to cultivate. And so far my experience has been just great, and it's just for the hardworking students who are truly passionate about learning.
Okay, so we're just going to hand over, so thank you to Saarvi for giving that little bit of an overview. We're going to welcome 3 of our other IB students. So I'm going to have 2 of our lower 6th students, Jake and Riccardo, so they're both in their first year of the IB. We're going to have Lilia as well. So Lilia is in the upper 6th, so she's in the second year of the IB. Lilia is also a boarder. So they're here to answer your questions if you want to kind of hear about their experiences, whether that's specifically related to the IB, or you want to just hear a little bit more about what life is like at Leighton Park. Then they're here to answer your questions. So please do, post away, and we'll try and answer them as best we possibly can.
Okay, so I've got some questions, guys, that have come in on the chat. Are any of you doing higher level maths?
Yes.
Can you please explain what the differences are between A-level further maths and IB higher level maths, and which one's more difficult?
If you searched on Google, there's a lot of comparison between A-level further math and IB higher, and I would say IB higher, it's including the standard level stuff.
Yeah.
So we're doing, it's such a question because I don't do A-level higher.
Yeah, it's a hard comparison to make when you haven't done it. I think, kind of from my perspective, looking at it, I think with maths as part of the IB, so we run standard and high level, but there are 2 different courses that you can do. So you've got an interpretation and applications course, and then an approaches and analysis course. The approaches and analysis course at a higher level, that one is more akin to further maths. And so if you are really, really passionate about maths and wanted to kind of study straight maths at university, then that might be the route to go to. I'd say that with the approaches and application and interpretation course, standard level is designed to be fairly accessible because everyone has to do maths as part of the IB. The higher level is a very similar level to kind of your standard maths A-level course. So it's absolutely perfect for if you want to do a course that's related to maths, so something like engineering or medicine at university, it's perfect for that. But it's not quite as in-depth, probably, the AI course at a high level as further maths is.
Great, I hope that was a useful answer, Alexandra. I've also got another question here about the extended essay. Lilia, have you started on the extended essay?
Yes, I finished it in September.
Oh, fantastic. So you'll be perfect for this question. What is it about? Do you have to do it related to one of your higher level subjects that you are studying? And when do you have to decide the topic?
Well, the extended essay does not have to be necessarily on a higher level subject, but it is strongly recommended by some teachers to do it on the higher level subject because you are already more interested in those higher levels, which is why you chose them as your subjects, right? So therefore, there will be more personal engagement for yourself in it as well. And with the topic chosen, you should probably aim to have narrowed it down to like 3 or 4 different topics by the second term of your first year, and then try to do your research on it so that you can work on it towards the end of the year 1 so that you won't have to think about it in year 2 anymore.
Brilliant. We're getting in lots of questions here, but I wonder before we get on to the next questions, could we just run through a little self-introduction from you all? I wonder if we could start with you, Jake, if you could just say a little bit about yourself, and then we go to Riccardo and then Lilia.
Hi, my name is Jake, and this is my first year studying in Leighton Park. I'm an IB student in the lower 6, and my subjects that I've chosen is language A, I choose Mandarin, and English for language B, math high level, and English high level, yes, and physics, psychology, and economics. And I do psychology and math, economics, and English as high level. Those are my high level subjects.
Hello, I'm Riccardo. This is my first year at Leighton Park. I'm doing high level chemistry, history, and biology, and doing English standard, French standard, and math standard.
Hello, my name is Lilia. I'm a year 2 student, and I'm doing higher levels chemistry, biology, and German A, literature, and my standard levels are and English B, language, and my standard levels are German A, literature, maths, and psychology.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. We've got a question here about why do students have to choose between the humanities subjects? Why can't they just do a little bit more focus on the humanities? I wonder, Kees, that might be more one for you.
So that's a really good question. And so I think it's about the IB is trying to build students that have a diverse skill set. And so I can totally understand so I'm primarily a geography teacher, why you might want to take multiple humanities. But for most of those courses at university, they don't ask for multiple humanities. So for example, if you want to do a history related course, or if you wanted to do a politics course or something similar to that, you wouldn't need multiple humanities actually to study it. And instead, actually, they might prefer someone who's perhaps got an English, who's done English as well, to work on their essay writing skills, perhaps done an arts-based subject as well, and a language kind of adds to the skill set that you have. Having said that, if you are really interested in that, so through all of our co-curricular provision, we have all sorts of different activities related to the humanities. So there's loads of different avenues that you can go down to explore that further. But also within things like theory of knowledge, one of the areas of knowledge we look at is kind of knowledge within the arts and within the humanities. And so that will definitely come up in there. And you can also do your extended essay on a humanity, so it could be related to your Group 3 subject. And so you can really make quite a substantial chunk of your kind of IB experience related to the humanities, even though it's just within one block through that core as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kees. We've got a question from Sabina that was sent in through via email. Are there limitations about which topics can be selected? Is it first come, first served? Riccardo, can you run us through what your experience was of selecting your choices?
Yes, of course. I wanted to do medicine at university. So for that, you need to do biology and chemistry at high level. You might want to do maths at high level if you really enjoy maths, but I don't really enjoy maths that much, so I chose to do history, which is something I enjoy very much. I think you need to do something that you really enjoy. I think that's the point of the IB, to do things that you want to enjoy, that you want to study and enjoy at the same time, and also build like that holistic and broad education. So you have like so many choices and you choose everything that you want to study. So at the end of the day, you just choose what you want to do and have a good time.
Great, and we've got a question about how you can maximize your score on the IB and how you go around about choosing subjects in order to maximize your score. I don't know, Kees, would you be able to offer a perspective on that?
I think probably the most important thing is to think carefully about which subjects you're choosing to do at high level and which subjects you're choosing to do at standard level. So the IB is designed to be kind of an accessible and an inclusive course. So the standard level courses, providing you have either encountered them before or encountered similar skills, they're designed to be accessible. The higher levels are very in-depth and detailed, really preparing you kind of for university study. And so ensuring that you're both very interested in those high level subjects, but also that those are your subjects of strength, are really important kind of to success. But I think actually less probably important than those subject choices, the key to success is probably actually your organisation, kind of how you manage your time and your work ethic throughout the course. If you're someone that's motivated and works hard, you'll probably do very, very well. If you are organised and you can organise your time and stay on top of things like your coursework, then it is manageable and you will do really, really well. I think that's probably more important than just picking particular subjects. But if it is about subjects, it's about thinking about that standard high-level split, which of the things you're really passionate about, and which are the subjects that you're good at. You could go into a bit more detail and kind of look at what percentage of people get 6s and 7s in particular subjects. That is one way to look at it, but I think probably it comes down to more what you're good at and what you enjoy over just going for what globally, which subjects generally people do better in.
Great, thank you, Kees. We've got another question from Alice about the extended essay. Can I put this to you, Lilia? Is the extended essay like a small thesis? How is it graded by the school, or is it graded by external assessors?
Yes, it is quite similar to a small thesis, but it is different in the ways that it is more related to your actual syllabus-related content, and you are supposed to kind of like do your own work to kind of like extend on that knowledge. So it's supposed to be related to things you do in your syllabus, but you may also wish to extend your horizon by looking at other different aspects as well. And it is going to be externally marked and moderated as well. So you will get a supervisor who's going to be in charge of you in terms of like trying to meet up with you regularly to see how well you're doing, if you have any queries, and that's usually someone who teaches you the subject you choose to do your extended essay on.
Great, thank you, Lilia. More of an overall question. What's the percentage of assessment based on exams? So comparing coursework and exams, what's the balance with assessment?
So it varies a little bit depending on subject, but kind of just very simply, IB versus A-levels. A-levels are, in most of the courses we do, almost exclusively exam-based at the end. With IB, in every subject there will be an element of coursework. So in subjects such as the visual arts, it's a huge content amount of that is based on coursework. In the languages, you'll have kind of individual orals as well as individual assessments to do. But in every single subject, there will be an element of coursework. And to get kind of the complete breakdown, our kind of prospectus is the best place to look, or you can just Google IB diploma program, chemistry high level, for example. On the IB website, it's got a really nice kind of one-pager for every single subject that gives you the overview and the breakdown, kind of percentage weighting for every single bit of coursework, because it does vary a little bit by subject, but there is coursework for every subject in there.
Great. And a question about how many students can join the IB program, and basically how students are assessed to get onto the program.
So this is a really exciting time for us on the IB. So we're investing in it and we're looking to grow it. We're really fortunate with our new sixth form study centre. We have more capacity, we've got more classroom space essentially, which enables us to offer more IB classes and open it up to more students. We don't have a set actual limit. It very much would depend on kind of the subject combinations that students are picking. But in terms of kind of the entry criteria, the school has an entry criteria. It depends slightly depending on what qualifications you have done before, whether it's GCSEs or something internationally, and it's all kind of detailed on the website and in the prospectus. So that's kind of the first step. There then are criteria for each subject. So for example, if you want to do one of the sciences, for example, at standard level, we ask you to get a 6 or equivalent in your GCSE or IGCSE science if it's triple science, so an individual one. If you've done combined science, we ask for that to be a 7. Again, that kind of entire list explaining what you need in each subject is in the prospectus. If we were to get into a situation where we had more students than we had capacity for applying for a particular subject, in that instance, we would basically, there would be kind of a process of finding out who is best suited for that, but that would kind of be a conversation with you, and it's something that very rarely comes up, so we're really lucky to have nice small class sizes on the IB, but that does give us a bit of flexibility with that kind of to put the extra person in. And we do have students that kind of change their mind on what subjects they want to do at the beginning, and we'll try our best to always make that possible so you can study exactly what you want to do.
Great. We've got a question from Annette, a question for the students, and I wonder if you could all try to answer this one. So this is, she's saying that a perception from the younger years in the school is that the IB students have lots more work than the A-level students, and therefore get to be less involved with wider school life at the school due to these work demands. Jake, do you feel that's your perception compared to your A-level friends, that you have a lot more work? How would you answer that?
Yes, for the IB, we definitely got more lessons compared to the A-level students. In 2 weeks' time, we got only 4 or 5 study periods in our school day, which is a lot less than the A-level student. I don't know actually how many did they get.
It depends for them very much on whether they're doing 3 or 4 A-levels and EBQ.
Yes. And for the work, yes, it's definitely more essay or work, but I mean, for the IB, the school give more support than A-level, because A-level student, they got a lot of study period, they need more independence time.
Yes, we do have a lot more like classroom time, lesson time. However, that's not essentially bad. We are very well supported, and since our classes are small, it's an advantage. Of course, it's not always nice to be away from your A-level friends, but that doesn't mean that we're not involved in school life. I think Leighton Park does a very good job at inviting and making sure that everybody's involved. And with CAS, Creativity Activity Service, it's kind of, we have to make the time without time management skills to be involved in school life and the Leighton Park community. So even though we don't have many study periods, we manage our time effectively.
Well, for me personally, I would say that it is definitely manageable to do extracurricular things and also like enjoy school life in general, because if you are well organized and you are able to manage all of your homework and your different coursework that are kind of coming up, then you can still join like 5 clubs a week, for instance, and go to house events at school. And I think that's something that not many people can appreciate, to have that kind of like available at their school as well. For instance, in Germany, there was like no clubs that we could attend, like after school wise or during lunchtime, because we don't have that system. But this is something very unique and special to not only Leighton Park, but in general. And I think it's very nice to still be able to enjoy it as an IB student, because it is a new experience for me in general.
Great. Kees, do you just want to wrap up maybe with any further comments about that particular question?
Yeah, so as an IB student, you will have more contact time with your teachers, but there is less of an onus on you using kind of the study periods really effectively. So as an A-level student, you'll have more study periods, but you will be needing to do more independent work during those periods. And so if you're someone that perhaps finds it much easier to work in a lesson environment when you're supported by your teachers rather than in kind of a free period, then the IB might be more suited to you. And it's also worth kind of reiterating that point. The IB, it's that balanced, holistic program as a whole, and because everything's part of the IB, it is meant to be balanced. And so there is time to do all of that co-curricular stuff in there, and it's built into the program as part of your CAS. We look very carefully at kind of managing your time, looking at things like your deadlines for coursework to make sure that, again, it's an entire program, and so you won't be getting too many deadlines at the same time. So it is very, very manageable, and we will support you with that the entire time. It's just kind of a different approach with the whole program, as opposed to kind of 3 distinctive subjects, and you're left to your own devices a little bit more to do that independent work with A-level.
Great, thank you very much. I think another lovely part about the IB is you get points for what you're doing in your co-curricular in the wider life of the school. So it all actually adds towards your university scores and your ability to go into top university programs as well. I have a question from Alice about how we select international students who aren't doing GCSEs. So, Kees, are you happy to take that one? I can step in if needs be.
Yeah, I can do, but I think, for honest, that's probably a better one for you, John. But yeah, so we will look very carefully at the qualifications that you've got, and we will look at things like your school reports as well. But it's a kind of a conversation with our admissions team, and we're well aware that there's different qualifications all over the world, and so it's not a disadvantage at all if you haven't studied GCSEs before. We can kind of talk to you about that and work out how you're doing and whether or not you meet that entry criteria.
Great, and I'll just step in from an admissions perspective. So all our students applying for the IB will be asked to do entrance assessments. So it's the same assessments across all our UK and international applicants. And so we have that level playing field to see how people have performed in those assessments. We have students from 45 countries in the school at the moment. So we're very used to supporting applications from lots and lots of different education systems. And you can see from our panel here today, for instance, Lilia is from Germany, and we have some different international backgrounds within the IB program, obviously being an IB international program. So those are all the questions that I have that have come in. If anyone wants to ask any final questions now, then, we've just got one in. Well done, Sabina, you've snuck in there. Sabina's asking, could you explain how co-curricular activities count towards the point system? So that was the point that I alluded to a little bit earlier. Any of our students want to take that one?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, go for it, Lilia.
Well, when we talk about how it could help us with the point system, we refer to CAS, for instance, because, as we said, CAS is creativity, activity, and service, right? And we have different club available at Leighton Park, for instance, the Alpha Eco Club, or Amicos International, or Amicos, which is, or Amnesty International, or Amicos, which is a charity club here. And I think all of those kind of like fit into one of those categories, for instance, especially the action part. But also we offer some physical activities like tennis after school, which you can also put into your well-being aspect of the activity part. And therefore, I would say that in general, any club you take could be linked back towards your CAS. And CAS is something that is a requirement from the IB. So they want you to be explorers and to kind of like broaden your horizon by trying out new things, different things. For instance, joining the newspaper club and trying out writing newsletters and stuff like that. So I think by doing as many things as you would like to do and that things you enjoy, like writing, for instance, or doing tennis, then it is definitely helping you with your application as well then, because you have a portfolio which you can present for during your application process or in your interview. You can talk about it as well. So all of it kind of like adds up to that.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lilia. One more question that's come in from Annette. What is the percentage of British versus international children who take the IB? I presume Annette means specifically at Leighton Park. Kees, are you happy to take that one?
Yeah, so it varies year by year. So I think in our lower sixth at the moment, 4 out of our cohort, so about 40% of our cohort are boarders. The rest are made up of people that live within the UK. Some, like Jake and Riccardo, are from international backgrounds, but they're living in the UK. In the upper sixth, we've got, Lilia, what have we got? We've got a couple, probably about 30%
from the UK.
Yeah, about 30% from the UK, 70% international. But it does vary very much year on year. And I think as we're kind of looking to grow the IB next year, we're expecting a slightly larger cohort of our kind of year 11 and pre-6 students already at the school opting to take the IB. So we'll probably see that change a little bit with slightly more, a slightly larger percentage of students from the UK or students perhaps international students that are already living in the UK opting to take the IB, as well as those internationals joining us.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Now, Sabina is asking, when will the entrance assessments take place? And it occurs to me we maybe needed to give a slightly different answer earlier about the entrance process, because Sabina, your son is already at the school. So in his case, he will automatically continue into the IB or the A-level program as long as he reaches our minimum level of 5 grade 6s on his GCSE program. I will be very happy to pick up with you on that outside in the meeting, but any current students, they just need to perform well in their current GCSEs and they'll automatically continue into the IB. Great. Okay, I think those are all the questions. If I could just ask Kees, please, to give a little wrap up. Anything that people should know if they want to follow up with any further questions in future.
So I just want to say at this point, thank you so much, Jake, Riccardo and Lilia, for giving up your time this afternoon to answer the questions. Thank you so much to you guys as well for obviously asking those questions and for joining us today. If you do want to find out any more about the IB, I would absolutely love the opportunity to kind of meet you face to face, or we can set up a kind of individual virtual meeting with me or potentially with our admissions team as well if you're interested already in kind of getting a place here. Again, if you want to come to the school, if you want to kind of see kind of the park in action, see what lessons are like, we'd be more than happy to kind of welcome you to the school to give you the opportunity to kind of look around. I think afterwards as well, we'll probably send out some details with kind of contact details as well, so you can always email us and ask any final questions as well. I think a copy of this webinar will also be going out online as well, so if you want to kind of re-listen to any little bits again and catch those answers again, you always can do. But thank you so much for being here today and for answering all those questions.